Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and if you're viewing this YouTube, you probably want to know, what does Dr. George want from an advertising plan that is required for a course that I'm taking with Dr. George Mochocki, either online or face to face or in one of my workshops. So let's go. Creating a basic advertising plan. There's different programs. Sometimes you could, if you take like an entrepreneur class or a workshop with myself or some other instructors at a college level, community colleges offer a variety of good entrepreneur courses and management. You could have a Business Plan Pro, and they'll have an aspect, just like if you've taken the principles of marketing class with myself or some other instructors. Uh, you would create marketing is the integrated uh, heart of the campaign of the whole marketing concept, what you're trying to convey to the customer or to your target audience. So, but advertising is that mouthpiece or that voice or the medium that conveys that information and touches the emotions, whether I'm interactive or I'm outside, and saturates me through frequencies and exposures. So you'll be required to do a business and advertising plan for me. You're going to come up with a product. It could be an existing product, and you want to just open up in a new market. It could be something you're working at work and you're doing to a sales ad and you want to advertise to a certain smaller niche. I want to, not for busy work, I try to do if you could utilize this and kind of build up like a portfolio. So when you want to go to the advertising, and that's, or open up your own advertising agency, or you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get funding for your product. So one thing investors are looking at, good idea. How are you going to get customers to you? You have to understand the marketing. And part of the whole marketing is the advertising. And the advertising and communication. When I communicate to a certain segment, I have to be able to communicate to that segment where he or she or that culture or that demographics accepts my message as authentic, as credible, and sees some value in what I'm trying to convey to them. Not that I'm just peddling something to them. And I come to them and I give them information. I lead them to sites that will, favorable sites to my information. I lead them to customer reviews. I build this strong brand awareness. So what you'll be doing is you're going to come up with a product. And I understand this is going to be a basic. Some of the stuff and many of the, once you're sold, you're going to identify what you're going to open up for. I'm going to do a hot dog stand. I'm going to extend a clothing line. I am an artist. I'm going to sell some of my artwork. I'm a home decorator, or I'm a personal trainer, I'm working for a store. I'm going to open up. Or I don't have any ideas what I want, but I want to sell something from the garage or sell my car, make it at a college level. Not I'm going to do an ad sign and that's it. Come on, this is going to be worth 150 points. But all right, so you come up with an idea, come up with a concept, or an idea that you may want to open up in the future. If no one would ever hire you, and you've somehow received $150,000 cash, and say, use this money with you to open up a business. What would I do? So come up with an idea. But how would I advertise? What would I do? So come up with that idea, and now you'll be looking at just as the advertising component of the whole integrated marketing. You got personal selling, I got this, but advertising is, I need the ad, I need the slogan, I need to how I build the brand awareness. So that's what you're going to be developing. So you've got that idea, you're going to come up with an executive summary. But before I go into the executive summary and everything else, let me show you a quick overview. Now, you're going to be able to print out this concept map, and I'm going to have it at a full level, print it out, look at it. Later on, I'm going to create a PowerPoint that you could print out the PowerPoints, and you could do for each one of these, because some of these are going to be a little bit more lengthy than other ones. But this is what I'll be looking for as my overall points for you to achieve 150 points. I sometimes utilize this also for teams. But if this is a condensed 8-week class, then you won't be doing it. If you're doing a team class, then take this and say, okay, I understand. I have to look at a team area. So what happens when I do, if you're doing with teams, and I create teams, your word count is higher, and your citations, I would expect double. So I would expect more work out of you because you're in a larger team. There's more people that are adding to the resources. But let's look at this for right now. This is for the individual. So I'm looking at a minimum of 2,400 words, around 300 words per page. And I think that's what I put on here, about 300 words per page. I just put it all in here, so I don't really need this. Let me just get rid of that. Okay? And then all 7 headers, and you're going to see the 7 headers we're going to discuss on here, identified by the number. Now, some of you are journalists, or some of you, your background is in English, or you're exposed to more of an English college type of a written paper. In the business sector, we'll be writing in an APA format. And I would show you in a little second again how to find the APA format, at least how to set up the parameters for an APA format or MAL, whatever your instructor is going to do it through Microsoft Word, and most likely Macintosh Word has that same functionality. So I'm going to look at all 7 headers. So here you're going to have the executive summary. You're going to use APA format, and I will have a format in Blackboard to at least get you started what I want in here. And then I'm more looking at the APA citations. For the APA citations will give me the date that I'm looking for. In business, and advertising is part of the business arena. I'm looking at what the culture of value or perception or acceptability is now, or within the last 2 years, and what I think is going to go for the next 2 years or 3 years. I don't really care what happened 1,000 years ago, or 100 years, or 50 years. It's nice historical data, but I am selling to a target audience now, and I have to be able to relate to that audience. So my citations, in APAs usually, when I'm looking at the business as part of the sociology or psychology, social science, because we're dealing with people arena. So that would be the format you'd be doing. If you're doing more for journalism or writing or English, you'd be doing MLL, which is a modern language association. The only difference is when you do the citations, when you're reading the document, you'll say here's citation by the author's name, but it doesn't give me the year. Or in business, I want to read the citation. I could find it later on who wrote it. It's done by George Mochocki interview. I'm looking at the year to make sure that the data is current. So APA is a very important format for us. Okay. So so what you're going to do, you're going to have and it's not set up like you would be writing a story. I woke up one morning, I want to open up a business, and I had to know how to market to the customers. So here's what I did. In a business that has more of labels or tabs, executive summary is based an overview, and I'll talk about that. But so I am looking at, you'll have tab 1, executive summary, tab 2, and going all the way. I'm looking at the 7 headers. That's what I'm talking about. 7 headers. It has to be identified, not talking into and assume that I could pick it up. Because in business, if I'm looking at the advertising plan, I may be the financial person, just want to make sure, good idea, but how is he or she, does she understand the customer base? Who are the customer base? So by looking at the advertising plan, I could see who you're identified or marketing identified through the research, who's going to be the target audience. And if the target audience is the baby boomers, I already know they have a different set of disposable incomes. If the target audience is going to be Generation Z, the new generation, Generation X or Y, millennials, I know they may not have the disposable incomes, but if they're in a certain geographic areas like Barrington or Lake Forest, or some of the more of the or certain areas of south side of Chicago that are affluent areas, that will have affluent parents and affluent grandparents, that they will have a higher disposable income or an access to somebody else's income, so they could buy my product by saying, Grandpa, Grandma, or Mom or Dad, you mind helping me out going forward. Okay? So I have to have, do you see what I'm talking about? So in a nutshell, it has to have the headers 1, 2, 3. I have to see that, or points are taken off, and I'll have a rubric. Okay, so you have your. So the next one is vocabulary. For each one of the headers, you're utilizing a book, you're using the material for reading, and my concept maps are a good indicator what the key concepts are. For you to show credibility in your advertising plan is that I utilize the vocabulary or the concepts that we've been talking about within our forums or within our readings. Remember, the exams only just tested if you understand the definitions of the vocabulary or understand the basic knowledge of the concepts. To here in the written paper, you have to take those words and actually be able to apply it, and not just say I'm going to do the 4 P's of marketing, place, production, product, and price, and don't talk about them. Price because of this segment, so I understand. I just want you to throw in the vocabulary. So say I got 35. I expect the vocabulary to be either italicized or bolded or underline. I could pick them up. I want you to make sure that you have 35 out of this document. So you're looking about 300 words, 24, about like 8-10 pages. You could go further than 8-10 pages. Some individuals will come out to 20-25 pages. I'll read it, I'll give my comments. Some individuals turn in 150 pages. Then I turn on my consulting hat on here, GAM Business Consulting and Education, and I LLC out of Lake Zurich, and I'll at that time charge you my consulting fee, not for my educational, if I'm teaching this as in an academic setting at a college level, okay, or in one of my workshops. So you have that, but make sure you have them identified just for you, because this way, whether you taking my course or taking another course, you've learned something. What tells me when I'm talking to somebody that he or she understands or already knows the advertising, even to a business individual, because I'm using the terminology and the concepts. If I'm doing something in plastic injection molding, I'm talking about injection molders, I'm talking about different kind of a polygram, and oh man, they know something about plastic, so I already know the vocabulary for that language. I already have not instant credibility, but they don't look at me in a skeptical type of viewpoint. They look at me as that I have some value to bring into the conversation, since I understand that. So you're taking an advertising class, I want to see advertising concept. If you take me for management, I would expect you to see my management concept or vocabulary in here. Any class you take, for you to get a good result on your paper is to utilize what you've learned and able to show you that I can apply it. That application is a skill set that you'll take into the workplace. And, right now we're looking at a business plan. As an advertising plan outline. It could be called an action plan. Still has the same thing. Executive summary has the components I'm required. You could use the software. Like I said, you could use the software. It may not be the same setup here. You're using the material for reading, so I try to connect. So when you're looking at the chapters, you could work on that. And where do you get some of the information in the chapters? Let me just flip back on the other concept map. Remember, these are the chapter readings that we're doing from our book. Now as an overview into the series, scope of advertising, market segmentation, researching, marketing and implementing integrated marketing communication, using print media. You have the resources from your book. You have the resources for the material that I've supplied you. You have my concept maps you can look at. You have my videos. Now you have to take this and actually come up with. You're going to come up with a product. I'm going to increase the hot dog stand sales. I'm just making that up. You do what is in your heart. You may have a photography business. You have an art industry. You may have a repair shop. You may be selling something. You may want to sell something. You want to open up something. Great. Just tell me a little bit about the business. Boom. How you can advertise, how you can reach your customers to loan. That's what investors are looking for. They want to make sure, good idea, but how you going to bring them into that door? Doesn't do you any good if you got an idea and you're sitting home and I hope they come. Yeah, maybe, because you have a lot of faith and belief. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but I'm saying right now, if I'm just in this advertising class, get them in here. That's what you're trying to do. So utilize the book. And now in the book, I don't want to see all your citations out of the book. The book is the resources. When you look at the chapter, the book, the material you have, they've given you different websites. They're giving you different locations. Look at them. I want to see maybe one out of the book, and the rest has to be outside independent. I'm not going to give you the points for the resources. Okay, so let's go back to our other mind map. And we're over here, so that's the rubrics. Okay, so we've done that. Now the APA style, I want 6 outside sources. Let me go. I have a Word up here. I'm working. What you want to do in APA, if you have Microsoft Word, you go into reference. I don't have this open. You go into references, and now insert the citation. You have two things. You can insert a citation or bibliography. A citation means I'm quoting the person right here. I'm using this data in this information that you tell gives me my credibility. I see the citation. Oh, this is credible data, and it's current. So this is what my citation. A bibliography at the end, I may utilize some of those ideas within my wording, within my written communication, but I'm not verbatim using them. I'm just using kind of conceptual ideas and placing them in my words, paraphrasing. So I will set this in a bibliography saying some of this thought pattern, some of this process that I got, I might have taken it from this individual that I read here, but I'm incorporating it, I'm kind of mixing it, mashing it, but I'm giving you some credit for the components and ingredients within my final advertising paper. Okay? So now you're going to go in here, you're going to do APA, and I'm going to just show you how easy it is. So you could create a bibliography. You could go in there and create the bibliography, and it's already built in when you go it. So I'm not going to go in here, but I'm going to go insert a citation. And I would utilize APA, and I go, you could do a few, no, this is nice if you're doing for other classes, Chicago, different ones that you want, depending on the individuals, or you already has it, you'll convert it for you. But here's 6 is the most current one, and I'm going to insert it, and I'm going to insert it. See, I'm typing in here. Let's see, I'm typing in here someplace. Okay, and I'm in here, and I want to insert a citation. I'm going to go in here and insert a citation, add a new source, and it's going to come, let's say it's going to come from an interview. You could select all these. What are you going to get it from? Is it from the web or from the document? Makes it easier. You could buy the software. It's here. A lot of students didn't realize they have it in here. Let's go to an interview. You interviewed me. Okay, so you interviewed me, and who's the interviewer? Is Dr. George, and just showing you, and the title is let's see, advertising genius, advertising CO, CO, Chief Operating Officer. Okay, so now I have that, and you is me, and the biggest thing that I'm looking for is the year. When did I do it? The year, month, but here I'm going to say the year now is 2015, and then you can put the month, whatever month, okay, or 206, and then I go okay. So now it's in here. So when I look at it, I'm reading this, and I could see this. They talked about this class, and there's George, or Mochocki, whoever you did, and I know it's current because it's within this year, or it could be 2016, or it could be 2013. In business, I want everything else within the current year. Are we good on this? Okay, so let me go back to my here. So that took care of the APA. Very easy. That's what I'm looking at for. In your APA in Blackboard, or one of the course management courses, if it's not Blackboard that I'm utilizing at the school, you will also have a template for this class that'll tell you Dr. George Mochocki, your name, the course, or whatever, and it's already set up in APA format, and I'm looking more for the citation. Utilize the citation. That's why in business it's very important. It gives you credibility real quickly, because I know the data is current. If you're saying this is what the culture is here, and I know the Humboldt Park area, or the that I grew up with, or Bucktown, with its different area there, it's changed. It's not the younger. It's it's not Polish. It's more the upper people coming back into the city. And you're telling me it's still Hispanic. I'm going to say your data is outdated. You don't really know your customer base that you're trying to target in there. Good idea, but you don't understand how to bring it to market. And that's what advertising. That's my communication. Okay, APA citation. The grammar, it has to be written. Remember, it's not like your forums if you're doing with me. It has to be at a college level. No errors, no spell checks. He has spell checks. Use the grammar check. Use the spell check. The programs are there. If I see spelling, I take points off. Fine. It's different when you're doing it on your Twitter, on your phone. I do some words, dragging. But if it's a regular document, it should be spelled correctly at this level. Okay, turn it in Blackboard or course management systems and you're working. Must be in Microsoft Word, RTF file. See the full rubrics in Blackboard. When you're in course management, you click on there. Always have the rubrics that the paper is going to be graded, 150 points, 200 points, depending on the course you're taking and how much the final project is worth overview. Okay. Now, if I'm doing for teams, the different thing changes. You have a different aspect called CatMe, which is a team evaluator. If you're doing this individual, and you'll know right up front, I'm gonna say individual, then that's what most of you. Then that's what it is. If it's team, this aspect will be open. Click on there, and it's your words 5,000. I try to double the words. Minimum spelled wrong. There we go. Minimum. Love spell check. All right, and one paper from all team members, and I expect more in each team. Members also has everything else required here. Only 12 more citations, and the other thing I want each team member what they contribute to will put their name on there and bold it so I know how to grade them. You'll be graded as a team, and you submit as one paper, but then you're also graded as individuals, and that grade can be reduced depending on how your other team members said you cooperated or worked with in the classroom, whether you're in a face-to-face setting that I'm presenting, or you're in a virtual classroom because it's a 16-week course and I have a little more time to get this up and going, or you're in one of my more advanced classes. Okay? So now, let's go what we need now. So real quickly, you're going to have this conceptual map available in a PDF file fully open. So you're going to have one that's going to be the second tier, and this is usually what I would consider the second tier. It just gives you all information on here, okay? And I would have on here the third tier, and this is what I'm really looking for. This just tells me with the book to follow along. When you look at the last section in the material that you're reading, I think it's 632 or something. It's Exhibit B. If I'm wrong, it depends what version of the book you're using with me. Okay, in the summary, the advertising objectives. So you have that here: increase sales, right? This is going to be really to be a summary of the strategy, and you have the strategy. Your research, collect. This is what you're going to do. You're going to give me a general idea. Some of this you're going to make up. Some of this you'll have something by competitors. It depends on your product and your business. What information? Something new coming up there. Then it's going to say, here's what I think the pricing is. But then you have to be able to justify that by the market that's coming to. We're going to sell all that. Budget, initial cost, milestone. When do you think it's going to start? 1 month, 2 months. You have to give me some kind of detail. Remember what's going to happen at this level as you're taking more and more classes. You're out here, and now we're bringing you more detail. You have to be able to have a plan. You're one little aspect, one sliver, one piece of an integrated marketing campaign. You're the communication. It takes everything else and makes all the pieces, and now you're going out there. Here I am, world. I am the new product. I am the new, I have this new service. Or look what we're selling to you. Look how we're helping you out. Okay? So you need this information. So this is going to be executive summary. The executive summary is usually the first thing you read, like an abstract when you're taking for your English and everything else, but it's the last thing you do. You have to do all these other things, and it just gives me a nutshell. It gives me a quick overview, so when I open up, I know what you're going to be talking about. Because some people may just look at the analysis, or maybe a statistician, some may be looking at just the advertising. So when people are looking at, other people have different skill sets, different areas of focus, so they don't have to read the whole thing. This tells me exactly what you're doing, and now I could see it. So when you're doing your presentation, your PowerPoint that you're going to do for the class, whether you're doing a narrative or a PowerPoint for the, I think it's 50 points, or a short YouTube, you just want to hit the main thing. The paper gives me all the real substance. The YouTube, like I'm doing here, just give me a real quick general outline overview, so you know what to do, what to write, what to put in there, so you could come back with a good product. So you want to get my attention first. Wow, let me read all that book, right? That's what the abstract means. This is really interesting, 500 pages, and I never read that much. But look at everything he or she's done in this outline. So you have it. So business is a different communication. So as advertising, you're taking everything and you're trying to get me to read and to look and to be aware and what I should focus. So you have to put it in what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for something that's quick and easy, a different generation, if it's on YouTube, it's got to be quick because I'm going to be bored. It's got to be quick. A lot of people flip that thing off. So I know I have a YouTube, I have a real short ad. What do I need to do to let them know I'm here? Advertising. Okay, so that's my executive summary. Now, situational analysis. Here's my marketing. Now, I added this. Here's the company. Let me just expand this a little bit, okay, and bring this up. I have in a 200 company or products, current marketing situation. You got to tell me a little bit about it. The book did the handouts you have. Right? I'm not going to go through this. The industry description. Tell me a little bit about the company, a little bit about the product. I have to understand. Now, that makes a big difference. Am I a large company or a small company? If I'm Motorola, I have more disposable income for a larger campaign. I need more. If I'm a small organization, where I'm going to use the most of my money to get that customer, I want to be larger, but I got to start someplace. I got to start a little seed, a tree, a big oak tree, started with a little branch that get ran over and became big. And that's where you're at. So I have to know what customer is going to give me money now to buy my products so I could grow. So I have to understand that customer. A little history about sales description, real general, and that's real quick information. Whatever you're doing, hot dog stand, what's the market? You could just Google it, you find stuff like that. Trust me, there's a lot of information, but it has to be accurate because that's what you're going to do. Some of the citation, implication of any kind of marketing research, communication. Okay, who's your target market? Description. Primary markets. Who's your primary market? Secondary market. You can do that through U.S. Census. There's zip code dot something, I forgot. Look at the different zip codes. You could go by the Chamber of Commerce. You're going to open up in the Lake Zurich area or some other. Okay, some other area. You could find by the chamber because they're always trying to say there's so much of a population here in this area to bring people in. Here's the education, here's the age, here's the so many children, here's the schools. So there's a lot of information out there. It's got let your fingers do the walking, or you could do the talking if you have like Dragon or some other software. Just be careful because you can send stuff out without realizing it. Okay. Now, I've created this one here, added up in here, market product. It gives you a lot of this, ties it in. Your demographics, how do I contact them? And you can go by advertising. You don't have to go crazy in this, remember. But I want you to give us some detail because you're building. This is your face, your basic. If you've taken me or other instructors for principles of marketing, they made you do a marketing plan, advertise in a certain aspect. If you take an intro to business, you've taken a certain aspect, marketing's in there. Now you're expanding on that. So most of you, if you open up a business coming up, you start building on it. So you have everything on here. Answer the question if it makes sense towards your product. All right, but you have to give most of it. Just don't say, well, it didn't make sense. But why? You know what I mean? If you don't have a face-to-face store, you have something else. You still have to advertise. You want to do it on the web. How are you going to reach the web? How are you going to get their attention? How are you going to do the Google? How are you going to spam them? Do I going to do an app first and get them hooked or find the web? All that is part of advertising. That's what makes it. Remember, a lot of this is creativity. Right now, you're making up a lot of the information because you haven't tested it. But you have to come up, how am I going to do this? So you're doing it rough. And then you're going to do more and more research as you're taking more and more classes. Right? So don't get scared with this. But something to think, taking something out here, and now I'm doing, instead of real general, you're doing, say, here's a hot dog stand. How do I get this hot dog stand up? You've got the degree, you've sent it, you've got the business, but you need that advertising. I've got the idea, but they got to know about me. I want that date, I want that wife, I want that husband, I want that friend. But if I don't go out there and advertise, I'm available, I'm out there, who's going to know how to reach me or contact me? Remember, I'm trying to pay off my student loans. I still owe the government, and I'll do the best I can. So the more of your classes you take, when you see Dr. George Mochocki sign up, it helps me because that's what I utilize the money to pay off the student loans. Okay? Like a lot of other individuals. Okay, intended role of advertising communication, so you have everything. Okay, so now let's go on to the next one. Remember, so you're going to have executive heading 1, then you're going to have another tab says situational analysis, and then you could write the paragraph. Inform, just like you write paragraphs, your citations, everything else. So now you have that. I have a situation, right? We had that. Advertising objective. What's your objective? Now remember, terms of objective, advertising pyramid, purchase power, other, quantified, what's your objective, specific quantity, percentage, length of times objective, how are you going to run the ad, what's going to take you so long, what's your objective, get more customer awareness. After a while you see the ad over and over, we become indoctrinated or callous to ad. When you really go outside, take advertising, just look around in the paper. Everyone's shouting at us. Everyone's come in the store. Different colors, different lights, different people, different things. Everything's else to get your attention. Advertising. You have so much stimuli going on. We don't know how to have quiet. So maybe you have an ad that just pops, half an ad, something's wrong. Remember, you have people who do advertising. They start something, or they have a person, a dummy, sitting on top like they're gonna fall off, and everyone, oh my God, someone's commit suicide. Provocative, you have fire departments coming up to talk. Somebody is gonna do a jumper. Now, okay, now they have to make an apology. You got public relations. Was that time? Was that by stupidity, or was it someone that said, "Hey, how do I get PR nationwide so they get my name?" I'm not saying, that's where you get the ethics. A lot of the reading ethics. Be ethical. Be fair. How you treat people is how they're going to treat you. If you're going to misconceive them, and there's advertisers, there's ads, remember, I tell you to push the limit. I tell you to enhance and embellish the word. But don't lie. Don't outright try to rip off the customer. And this says, I am not with this. This is a college level professional. Myself as a professional, I expect, integrity, honesty within the ads. If you got a junky product, then make it better. If you got bad customer service, improve it. You see what I'm talking about? If the customers don't like it, find another customer branch or another niche that's going to enjoy your product. You're here. Well, I'm here. You've got the internet. There's different ways to change your way around and be an ethical advertiser. I had to throw that in because ethics is a big portion. I haven't talked about that. Because remember, in advertising, you're always walking, you're right at that cup. How much to embellish, how much to enhance. In English, you're always embellishing real bright treats to make it real vivid and everything else. But remember, if I embellish the fake hamburger and people are going to come in and here's a hamburger or a hot dog, George's hot dog, and it's itty bitty little, what the heck is this? Stale bread. You know what I mean? Okay, and I'm not going to say something because if I look at Subway, a lot of times I look at the sandwiches. Man, those look so fresh. They're basically fake sandwiches, and they make them in the back because this way you don't have to waste it. But they're so realistic. Next time you look at them, and look at them, and it's kind of interesting because you say, "Is that real?" Oh yes. Let me touch it. Let me see. I want that one right there, and you can see that it's not. Some may not, but that's technology makes it so appealing. As long as the one you're selling looks like that, what's the issue? Okay, that's the way I look at it. But that's advertising. Remember, this is an advertising class. Okay, so let's look at this next one. Advertising, product concept. You got to tell me a little about the product. You want, a product life cycle. Where's that? Is it introduction, growth? Is it maturity? Is it decline? Are you trying to maintain the growth, make it longer for longer markets? Or do you want it as a maturity? You want to expand that thing before it's going into decline? That's where you have new and improved. Or you change the whole product or do a transformation, like baking soda did a while back. Okay, Kim Lord purchase, high-low involvement. You have that. Okay, so you have that information. Basically, what makes your product different? Because if you're looking at your competitors and everything else, looking at the ads they're having, because you may advertise the same place, they're already reaching them, especially if they're successful. Why not? But I'm going to bring it in, but I'm going to make the ad a little bit different. But then I have to understand their strengths and weakness. I'm not requiring it here because the reading has it, but if you've taken in marketing, you always have a SWOT analysis. Strengths, opportunity, weakness, and threat. Strengths and opportunity, strengths and weaknesses are within the organization. Opportunities and threats are outside the organization. So I got a strength, I got a weakness. My competitor has a strength and weakness. My strength hopefully will offset my competitor's weakness, so I could have my advertising. I try not to use a competitor's name because then they're the benchmark. I'm comparing myself to them. But you could say, so and so, we have this. If someone's looking for something, they'll be searching. They don't have to worry about the name. They're looking to satisfy a need. If I understand how to reach that clientele, that niche, for the need to my advertising, to my internet, whatever, then I'm very successful. So where's my life cycle? What kind of packaging, what catches my attention? I don't want to be like my competitors, but I want to be maybe in the same position in the store so they could compare. And a lot of stores will do that. But remember, you're going to be costing space, you'll be turning over, so you have to be able to convince that, okay? Who's your target audience? And I'm looking, let's look at this, specific people advertising will advertise. Like it or not, this is a nutshell. If I don't know who I'm selling to, how could I advertise you? If I'm going to be upset because I got a shirt and tie, people say, oh, look at this, but I've got a lot of people that freelance. Okay, so I'll take the tie off, and I'm going to be George without the tie. I'll do this for now. All right, I'll take the tie off, and now I'm going to be George for my relaxed, creative individual because I'm in advertising. If I'm management, I'm that. So now I'm a little relaxed. Okay. was getting hot anyway. All right, so here we are. So now you have to understand what are the benefits, what are they looking for. Now what I think, I may have an idea what I think is a indicator, but I have to find out. There's people that think differently than I do. What are psychographics? How do they think it? What are the feelings? What are the beliefs? What are behavior? Where do they fall in on that? So all that I have to understand my target audience. Who are my customers? How do they think? How do they like? What upsets them? What attracts them? Who do they communicate? Who are they talking? Who are their peers? What are their influences? What are they watching? Who do they look up to? What music do they listen to? What radio station? What advertising? What do they drive? What kind of cars they have? How do they look? How do they act? How do they talk? What kind of verbiage? What kind of language? What is the underlying culture? What is the understanding? What is the hidden messages when they communicate? What is the visual? How do I put subliminal advertising in there? Welcome to advertising. Now I understand them. I understand the triggers. I understand how much before I upset them. What's going to attract them? What's going to be provocative? What's going to make them see value in my product? How much money they have to spend? All that is included in marketing and advertising is communicating. Now you've made that, you've stepped up, you've achieved that goal. Shouldn't you have this new watch that you could keep track so you don't have to go like that? Saving, you could relax and just kind of glance. George, I'll talk to him later. Yes, I saved a step, I saved energy, I have relaxation. That's going on there. Okay, and prioritizing the target audience. Who's going to be a primary market? That's where most of my market. So I could pay a little bit more than secondary market and supplementary market. So primary market is where I can really focus into. So you're going to say it's going to be baby boomers. It's going to be adults. It's going to be artists. And there's a bunch of artists in Washington, or just or in Newtown in Chicago. I mean, there's areas, or Bucktown. There's up and coming people that the new shakers, the new influencers, the new innovators, whatever. The new entrepreneur, the Entrepreneur magazine. I'm trying to get the Wall Street. Wall Street's trying to come up with a newer image, newer people coming in there. So they're writing and they're trying to attract us. So tell me who. Okay, and then who's supplementing? There's other people are going to be followers, watchers, but I want to get them all. I'm going to spend here, I'm going to target in here, and I'm going to expand and open up as I'm getting the revenue here. I'm going to be growing into that. Okay, and the communication media, which when I'm looking at that, you can talk about the reach. How many are going to reach? Give me a percent of the market. Some of it, you can say there's 100%, and because through advertising or through direct mail, I could reach 80%, 50%. You can give me some of these numbers. Don't say a lot. I'm in advertise a lot. What the hell's a lot? If I'm hungry, a piece of bread is a lot of food. And I'm not being derogatory. I'm just saying, you got to give me a percentage. Give me some numbers. Give me a detail. What you're coming up here is a little detail. Even some of the detail may be hypothetical. You can get from the research that here's 80% of the markets are already baby boomers. So I'm going to get 0.5% of sales or whatever. Frequency, gross rating. And you may not get all of it, but you get a lot of it. I can advertise radio station. What radio station? WLS or Country Western. 99.5 or something else. What magazines? And I'm going to be advertised in a Newsweek. It depends on your target audience. Now I know that you understand that. Outdoor billboards. We're going to have the billboards right here. There's a traffic jam. There's people going to work. I'm going to Chicago. They got to go back home in the Newtown area, Bucktown. There's the expressway. I'm going to hit those areas there. Now I have an advertising campaign. I understand the customers. I know where they're at. I know the geographic. I know the demographics. And I got the information out there, secondary data. Now I could do my advertising. I'm effective and efficient, so I'm using advertising and management working for it. Okay? Spam, be careful with spam, internet, social media, professional media, trade shows, supported media. If they have a trade shows, or I have a Taste of Chicago, NFL had, the draft, and he had a whole array of different foods, and the vendors are out there just for the reason, just to get your name out there. And that's another way of doing that, okay? size of considerations, cost effectiveness, and you could read a lot of these yourself. I just put it all on here. Now, if I'm looking at advertising message, what does the company want to say? What do you want to do in your ad? That's the whole thing. And we've done that. Some of the forums that you've had me, if you're taking me to face-to-face class, or a lecture in a classroom, or if you're taking me to online, you're using the forums. The forums are building your product. Come up with this and put it into the forum. So you're always tying everything else. Art elements. You may not be an artist to draw a stick person. I do a stick person. I have to conceptually tell an artist who will look at. I'm not a media guru by any means. So what do I do if I don't? If I'm not doing this? So if I'm not a media person by any means, and you have all these. I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit. There's a lot, but see, I will have this all broken down. You won't have to have all of this. I'm doing by advertising message, production software, paper, electronics effect, animation, video. You're just gonna tell me something. You're gonna talk about it. Here's what I perceive we should have that. Remember, I don't want you freaking out here, because some of you maybe take me for an entrepreneur. And look, when I'm coming in here, remember, it's just triggers. You could do the first tier. So if you're looking at the first tier, let me do it this way. You've got mind maps. Let me just open up this way, like this, so people understand. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to expand, and I'm just going to go in the second level. So if I'm looking at the second level, you have all this information. Talk about your product. Talk about your target audience. Talk about your communication. Talk about your advertising. But you want to know more about advertising, now you have all this. And then you want to know more about visual, now you have this. But I will open up one tier, and I have one that says full concept map. I'll have everything your heart desires. But what I would require from this course, because it's an introductory class you're taking me in an advertising series, or you're a new business owner, and you may have an ad agency, so you should have all this. Or I am an ad agency and I'm selling. If I ask the questions, these are bona fide questions you should ask your advertiser. What about that? What's your direct action or indirect action? What's your objective stated in terms? What's your contract? What are your objectives? And here's going to say my objectives are going to be either advertising, purchase behavior, change behavior, or something else. You have to tell me what you're doing. So how do I know you achieved it? Because that's what the research is going to be telling you. Okay, so and this one is a method, and this one here should have been of. As I create them. Okay, so we all right? I'll put the two together. Sorry. We're live, all right? So now when I'm looking at advertising budget, so when I'm looking at this, you should be able to tell me how much you think you're going to spend. And it could be, and here's the chapters that is allocated, and it could be a percentage of new product, competitive situation. I'm going to budget similar to what my competitors are doing if I find out, growth, whatever, method of that is percentage of sales or profit. I'm going to increase sales by 15%. I'm going to take 2%. That's going to be my advertising budget. Look at your advertising budget, or the time you're doing spending this. If you're a business, look at this as, when I give you a grade, it's your academic currency. When I'm looking at my advertising budget, for my budget to get more people coming into my business, I have to plant seeds. My advertising, my communications, my advertising, my flyers, my being at trade shows, or being showing promotions, or giving buy one get one free coupons, or sending out flyers, direct mails, or on TV ads or jingles. All those are seeds, planted seeds in an individual's mind, so he or she will think about your product, be aware that your product's out there. When I smell the aroma of donuts or hot dogs or pizzas or Chinese food or whatever, or I could taste it or feel it or see it, it stimulates me to go into my product. That's what advertising does. So when I'm looking at it, I have to spend money, but I have to, when I spend the money in the seeds, there's nothing for free in life. I give you something, I give you a free donut. Jimmy John gives you a free donut or a sandwich. Oh, it tastes good. A little sandwich. I want the rest of it. I'm hungry enough, I'll go back in and buy the whole one. But now at least I taste it, I get a sample. How does that work? And that's where my research comes back in. Okay, so I had to spend some money to make money. So we're okay on that? Good? Okay, so I have the impact on here, and you'll have the full map. I think I'm already over an hour. You'll testing and evaluation, advertising, research. You'll pre-testing, post-testing, have a baseline. Here's where I'm at. I've only made so much. My sales are level. If they're going down, you try to stop it and bring them back up. Well, let's say they're level. Even if they're going down, I did the advertising. Did I start seeing a curve going back up? So my advertising are working. If they start going down, I have to change an ad or get another ad agency. Or if I'm doing it myself, bring an ad agency in or somebody else in there to help me do this. Or I don't understand my customer base or find a new market. So a lot of times, a lot of customers or small business, especially entrepreneurs or individual business owners, they're focused on one market. If I ever, I always try to do, consultants will come in there and try to do, at least have a secondary market, a primary market, a secondary market. If the primary market is drying up, you have a secondary market. It may not be as profitable, but at least it's sustainable to keep your business going until one opens up. Sometimes my secondary market becomes my primary market, and my primary market becomes my secondary market. Same thing with your customer base. Always, here's what my customers I'm focusing on advertising, but I'm also trying to do out here. May not be as profitable, but you're buying it, it's kind of breaking even. But if something happens, it at least will pay when you look at the break-even point. And my fixed costs will pay off my fixed costs, and I just got to worry about my variable costs, my mortgage, my payment, my employees are at least burden costs. I could at least, not working overtime, I could at least sustain them for a little bit while the economy or something happens. Okay, that's your testing, and cost of testing and everything else. So, and that's basically when I look at it, it explains the different elements. Aided, unaided. If I have an ad out, does they remember to add, or they remember the jingle, but they remember to tie it into my business? It's an effective ad. Okay, now your closing statements is using your own words. Closing on if closing on. It makes sense. Words on your advertising plan should get should it just your own words. I'll leave it there. Should you go ahead with it or not? You know what I mean? Let's look at this way. I'm looking at this way. You had the plan. You're doing some assumption. Here's what you think you're going to do to research it. I've got everything set up. At the bottom line, you're doing your presentation. At the end, you say, I presented everything to you. I've gave you our outline. I told you my product. I told you what our objectives are. I told you what mediums I'm going to be utilizing. I gave you an idea what the costs are. This is what I'm looking for in your presentation. When you're doing a PowerPoint narrative or you're doing a short YouTube. You're going to cover all 7 of these items, and then you're going to give your closing argument. Your executive summary, I'll close them all up. Your executive summary should be as close, let me just do expand, I'll go one level. Your executive summary should be a strong summary to get my attention, and your closing statement should be also a strong statement. Not just, I think it's a great idea. This is the last thing I read in your paper or in your action plan or in the outline, and it should be strong. Say, yes, I think this is a good idea. You get a high return on investment. No one's used it. There's a need for this. I think it increases the probability. The advertising communication is solid. It ties in with my customer base, and it's kind of restate the main issues. Don't go into too much detail. Just so the last thing I remember is all the main point. Just like if you're going for an interview and says there anything about yourself, I think I'm the best candidate. I've had a lot of experience. I've already done all the different types of work. I know the different aspects of the job. I have connections. I understand this market, and I think I would be an asset to your organization. I'm willing to learn. I know I come back with a lot of experience, and you may consider that I may not want to change ideas. I'm very flexible, and and that's how you sell yourself. And now this is the last thing the person does, and they look at a candidate. What do you remember? The last few words that you said that were right to the point, and they could connect with you, your verb, your nonverbal, and you lock them in. Okay? Anyway, that's my name is Dr. George Mochocki. Remember, I try to do a lot of things that's objective, so make sure you cover all these aspects in here. So if you're individual, 2,400 words, around 300 words, about 8-10 pages. I'm not looking at pages. I'm doing a word count. I'm looking at all 7 headers, 1, 2, 3, using APA citation, utilizing at least 5 concept words, use your or vocabulary in each of the different 7 headers. This takes what I've learned, gives you credibility and reliability, taking your knowledge and actually apply it into a formal document. I'm looking 6 citation, APA citation. I explained how that works, and within this presentation, I'm at a college level grammar, professional levels, no errors, utilize your grammar check and utilize your spell check. Turn in Blackboard or course management system that you're taking me with. Must be in a Word document, it's a business, like it or not. You're utilizing Mac products or Apple products. You could the newer ones convert into Microsoft Word or a RTF file. That's you save it in there, not in the comments, but in the right submissions here. You've already done in some of my course management. See the full rubrics when you do for the assignment. Attach it. I have the rubrics. You can see what I'm going to be grading you. That's what I'll be utilized in the rubrics. If you're doing teams, remember, and you'll know if you're doing teams, you have another thing called CATME, is comprehensive assessments of team member evaluations. So I'm looking at each team member, evaluate each other one. I see the results. You just see overall how the team evaluated you, and that's worth a certain percentage. If you're doing your work, you don't get the full team work. But most of you will do work. You do your write-up is double or sometimes triple, depends on the words, and your citation will be different because it's more individuals, and you will include your name of each individual in the team. But if you're doing individual, if you're doing for an 8-week course, usually don't do in the teams. It's more individual, unless I'm doing a hybrid. That's half online, half face-to-face. But if you're not doing teams, you're doing individuals. So this is what does it. This is what's going to give you your grade. The rest is subjectivity. How much do I believe you? Does it make a good idea? Come out of the box. Remember, we're all creative. You may not be artistic, but creativity is coming out of the box. Now you know exactly what's required for advertising plan, taking me online or face-to-face from one of the courses. And I'll see you in some of my lectures or my lesson plans. Thank you. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. Bye.